Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast.
Hey everyone, it's your good friend Eric Thompson. This is the Ninja Selling Podcast. Thank you once again for listening, for tuning in, for engaging. Really looking forward to this episode. This is going to be another terrific interview with a ninja. We're going to learn from her all the things she's doing to get the results that she is getting so you can do the same thing. So with that, it is my pleasure to introduce the Ninja Nation to Amanda Baker is here with us today. So Amanda, hello. Go ahead and say hi, Amanda. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Hi, Ninja Nation. And Eric, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's our pleasure, Amanda. Amanda, tell everyone where you're located and the company that you're with.
So I am in Durham, North Carolina, kind of also known as the Triangle for the Raleigh-Durham area. And I'm with Howard Hanna Tate.
Amazing. And how many years in real estate for you?
And I am heading into year 7.
Year number 7. So Amanda is one of our Ninja coaching clients. So thank you for that, Amanda. Amanda, you work with Shelley Culbertson. The amazing Shelley Culbertson is your Ninja coach. And here's the deal. This is the theme for today. I want everyone to pay attention to this theme. This is how to have consistent volume in an inconsistent market using consistent routines. It turns out that's a little bit of a tongue twister. So again, it's how to have consistent volume in an inconsistent market using consistent routines. So the thing is that the market is never exactly consistent. And so how do you get consistent results? It's through consistent routines. We are going to hear from Amanda all about that. I think a simpler way to present today's theme would just be, this is going to answer the question, how do I do it all? How do I do it all? That's a question we hear a lot from ninjas saying, okay, I have all these things in my personal life, plus I want to get these results in my business life. How do I do it all? You may watch Amanda from the outside and say, how does she do it all? You are going to hear exactly all about that. So before we get into those specific details, Amanda, just tell us, how did you get introduced to Ninja?
So my now business partner has also done multiple installations. And so when I got into the business, even before we were partners, my company is also a big advocate of Ninja, and they were promoting an installation that they were going to host. And my business partner really pushed me to do it. She said, doing a Ninja installation is something that I really wish I had done earlier in my career. So if you can, take the time and put away the money to do it, it's something that you will reap the rewards of for many years.
Yeah, amazing. Well, tell us what you told me when we were preparing for this podcast. How did you feel right after the installation? Like right when it was done? What was going through your mind as you finished up those 4 days?
I was very overwhelmed. I left thinking, I don't even know how I've made it this far and have sold any houses, have any clients, because I felt like, wow, I'm not doing a lot of this stuff. And so I was kind of like, how have I even gotten this far?
Got it. So you felt like you've been shown the light. You've been shown the way, you know how to process, you had a system, you had a path to follow. It was pretty soon after that you started working with Shelley as your coach, right?
Yes, because again, feeling really overwhelmed after the installation, I remember kind of having a moment with myself where I was like, okay, you can't get up in the next day from an installation and start doing everything perfectly, right? Like that would be like getting up and running a marathon with no practice, in my opinion. And so I thought, okay, if I can implement 1 or 2 of these key practices and try to do them very well and get them to, where it's just a habit now, there's the muscle memory there, then great, you can keep adding things in. But as I kind of worked through that process and what it was going to look like, I just felt like having a Ninja coach and someone who also understood the system and how the key components work together and all that. And then again, the accountability, because in this job, there's really not a lot of accountability otherwise, but having that accountability and someone to kind of like brain share with was going to be really key for me to be able to not only implement the 1 or 2 things well, but to continue to push forward implementing the other processes.
Got it. Fantastic. That's great. Okay, tell us a little bit about your family, and this is going to be relevant to one of the specific things we're gonna talk about. But yeah, just as a way for people to get to know you better.
Absolutely. So I'm married to my wonderful husband, Joe, who probably won't listen to the podcast because he's in a very different industry, but he travels in his career. So, when he's not home officing, he is on an airplane away, usually at least for a week at a time, if not more. And then we also have two sons. So my oldest is Bowen. He's 11 and just started middle school this year. And then my youngest is Keller, and he's 8 years old and in third grade. And they both play baseball.
Got it. That's great. Well, tell your husband on behalf of the whole Ninja Nation, he's invited to listen. I hope he does. We all hope he does. He's gonna be really proud of you, and this is great. So, okay, everyone, just keep that in mind. What she just said about her family and kind of what that looks like. And this is a person, Amanda. You're a person with a lot of responsibilities, right? A lot of obligations, responsibilities, balls in the air, plate spinning, lots happening, lots of things that you care about. So, how do you do it all? And speaking of doing it all, I'm going to share, Amanda, if it's okay with you, I'm going to share your production numbers with everyone, so they can have a sense of what you're able to achieve in your business while managing all these responsibilities. And by the way, in a really cool way, we're going to hear how you do that. So, you are projecting to have in 2025 16 million of volume, which is fantastic. And we're sitting here today in the middle of September recording this podcast, and you've closed 9 million so far. So terrific numbers. Congratulations. And that's been a consistent level for you, right around there. And as we mentioned at the beginning, how to have consistent volume in an inconsistent market. Your market, like many markets, has been delivering some inconsistency, some uncertainty, some change, some challenge, yet here you are getting those kind of results. Okay, now let's get into how you do it. Let's get into what you're doing specifically to manage all these things in your life. You did something really interesting this last summer in terms of your schedule and your routine. And because of your two kids, and because your husband travels a lot for work, walk us through what you did. How did you set up your schedule, your routine this summer?
I had a realization that probably most parents have at some point as their children get older, that the time was getting a bit more fleeting with my children, especially I had that realization knowing that my oldest was going to middle school. And so the amount of summers we had left with him that he would want to spend with us were probably getting slimmer. And so I thought, I really want to enjoy this summer, and I want to work, but I also want to be able to spend quality time with them, have special experiences with them, even on weeks where, we're not traveling, but they're just home. And I didn't want to be stressed when they were at home, and not maybe in a camp or something. I didn't want to be stressed about work and, telling them to leave me alone. I'm working, that kind of thing. So I really wanted to work my schedule around having that quality time and those special moments with them.
Got it. So you wanted to make the most of that time. The summer, those of us with children, the summer is a special time. That age is a special time. I mean, let's face it, as parents, they're not around forever, and so we're going to make the most of it. Someone told me once about parenting, it's when the days are long and the years are short. You wanted to take advantage of that. So what you did is you set up an every other week schedule and an every other week pattern. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So I worked with Shelly kind of as I was starting to think about this and formulate like what the summer looked like for me. Because I told her my goal was to have the kids in some kind of camp one week and then home the next week, so that they weren't just in camps all summer and could, either be home hanging out with friends or doing something with me, or maybe having a special like staycation or getaway that week. So we looked at that and decided, okay, so the weeks that the kids are in camp, we're just going to double down on doing the ninja activities. And those weeks have to be really on purpose. They have to be really focused. we kind of have to plan for those weeks. So when you're doing your weekly meeting agenda, you're really sitting down and putting some thoughtful like time and energy into like how that week is going to look and really, time blocking for those key things to happen. And so again, on those weeks, oftentimes I try to spend more time in the office if possible to knock out, but like doubling down on calls, whether it was just to my sphere and clients or customer service calls, doubling down on real estate reviews that week, doubling down on handwritten notes that week, trying to get out and make in-person connections as well. Although naturally I found on the weeks that were, the not all work weeks, I ended up doing a lot of forward and having forward conversations because as I was out and about with my kids, inherently I'm seeing their friends' parents. And so those weeks also felt very productive forward wise.
Yeah, absolutely. You're still in flow, even on those off weeks. And hey, let's be real and let's answer something that might be going through the mind of people right now. On your off weeks, and I'll do air quotes on that, on your off weeks, you were working. It's not like you had 0 hours per week. During those weeks, you told me that you were working probably about 15 hours a week on the quote off weeks and probably close to 45 hours a week during the on weeks. So in the on weeks, you were full on. You were like you said, you were doubling down. You were highly intentional. And then on the off weeks, it was modified. And even before we go on into more specifics on this, the big takeaway that I want people to get from this is that doing something like this is absolutely possible, whether it's structured around kids or not. I mean, you're listening, you might not have children, but you have other things that you would like to do with your time, other people that you would like to be with. And so this kind of a structure, this kind of a routine, if you're intentional about it, if you're on purpose, if you're all in, if you're doubling down, it's absolutely possible. And you can get the results that Amanda is getting. So we're hoping this is one of those podcasts that just unlocks possibility for you, unlocks opportunity for you to really see that you can do something like this. So Amanda, on the off weeks, there were still things you were doing work-wise, business-wise. You told me that you created a modified morning routine on those off weeks. So walk us through what that looked like for you.
Yeah. So the off weeks could look a little bit different depending on what was going on with the kids that week. I mean, if they were just kind of home and maybe some of the quality time with them was going to be like, we're going to go to the pool this afternoon, or we're going to go play tennis or to go somewhere local, then working in the mornings and then kind of being with them in the afternoons. However, some of the off weeks, it was like, hey, we're going to go to the beach for like 2 nights. Thankfully, here in the Carolinas, we can get to the beach and the mountains relatively quickly. So if it was stacked like that, where maybe we were going to head out on a Wednesday, come back on a Friday afternoon, be at the beach, then I was stacking Monday and Tuesday heavier, not just mornings, and then potentially having to facilitate client call or something Wednesday or Thursday, but nothing that really took away from that quality time. So it was flexible. It's just a matter of it didn't so much matter when you did it, just that you got the things done that you needed to get done.
Yeah, and you also told me that this kind of structure, this kind of routine helped you to become really good at setting boundaries.
Yes, which I think is something very hard to do in this business,
It's
but
hard because we're all people pleasers. We like to say yes. It can be hard to say no, but you had to learn how to do it.
yes, and I mean, I think, regardless of wanting to do this schedule or not, that is something that Shelly and I have worked on a lot because I think, especially in this business, when you're 1099, saying no is something that is very hard to do. But yes, I mean, the way I kind of worked it is if I had a client that had a more emergent need. So for example, if a buyer client texted me that they, saw a house that they wanted to have a showing for, one of the things that I've started doing is, once I get that text, instead of just saying, okay, like, when do you want to go? I will text them back and say, I can show it to you on this day at this time or, this day at this time. And if they text back and say neither of those work, then, we'll keep working on it. 9 times out of 10, one of those works. And fortunately enough, I also have a licensed assistant. So she could fill in some of those gaps if need be. But I'm very, kind of like setting up some boundaries with clients on like in different stages in the transaction, what our communication looks like. So, if we are writing an offer, then, we work on that and we negotiate that offer until whatever we need to do, right? Then once we're under contract, we can kind of move back to more normal working hours for questions, concerns, things like that.
Got it. Did you tell your clients when you were in a transaction? So a client that was in a current transaction at the time, did you tell them about this schedule specifically, or was it more just setting the expectation on when they could expect to hear from you in terms of your client service calls and things like that?
No, I didn't tell anyone. And, frankly, I would venture to say I don't think any of those clients could could tell you that or would know because again, there was already the schedule in place. So for instance, like customer service calls, I've already got those calls time blocked. And frankly, whether it was an on week, double down week, or an off week, those were happening no matter what. And so there was just a lot of consistency there that, again, I don't think anyone knew any differently.
Yeah, they had a seamless experience because the items in the Ninja 9 relevant to them those were still happening even on the off weeks. Again, those off weeks you're working probably 15 hours a week, which is, I mean, you're working 2 to 4 hours a day. So it's not like you're completely unplugged. So you're still delivering great service to them, but you're able to have all this time with your kids.
Yeah. And I mean, even to the degree of, and something that I, kind of just popped into my head is that, um, there's three of us on my team and we have worked really hard to have some pretty great and informative templated emails that clients get throughout the process. And so even to that degree on days that, maybe we were at the beach, right? I had already pre-scheduled those to go out if it was applicable to clients. So they were still getting like, hey, you're through due diligence. Now what? Right. Even when I was not at my computer.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So all that is still happening, which I think is a great segue, Amanda, to talk about autoflow and your autoflow and another reason why you were able to do this and get the results that you're getting in 2025, even though you had this every other week pattern, is in addition to doubling down on the on weeks, is your autoflow. So I'm going to tell everyone who's saying, "Wow, this sounds like a great idea. Maybe I'll give that a go within every other week." The other thing that's really important to have in place is terrific autoflow. Um, so Amanda, let's go into that. So you told me that you have 200 people in your sphere, in your database that you're in flow with, and tell everyone what you told me when I asked you what's your favorite piece of autoflow that you send out. Tell me what you told me, and then expand on what that is.
Okay. So it's the newsletter. And we send out a monthly newsletter. And the reason that it is my kind of favorite autoflow is that I think it's easy to have a lot of your autoflow be either something, maybe you're farming a neighborhood and it's comps or market activity, or maybe it's just like holiday cards, things like that. But we really focus with our newsletter on being some relevant real estate news if there's something going on, at the moment, but with a focus that is pretty local to our area. So events that are happening, new restaurants that are opening, if there's like a great new show coming to the Durham Performing Arts Center, you know, just kind of letting everyone know that like here's what's going on in our community and it's a great place to live.
Fantastic. So you have the newsletter that goes out. Tell us also about your pop buys.
So we do 5 pop-bys a month. I like to slow down because otherwise it sounds like Popeye's
Yeah.
chicken. We say it too quickly. But we do 5 pop-bys to people in our sphere every month. And so our little 3-person team, we do an end of year business planning and a mid-year business planning every year. But at our end of year business planning, we plan what those are going to be for the next 12 months. And half the time we will go ahead and procure those items just so they are kind of there and ready. And it can be something simple, but for instance, like in June, as we were heading into summer, we did some really nice kind of thick beach towels with sunscreen. And so then we just pop by to 5 people. It's random. We don't schedule it. If they're home, great. We get to say, hey, just wanted to drop this by. Like, how's everyone doing? And everyone's excited to get a gift, right? If they're not home, then we will just leave it on their porch. And it's great to just be able to hop in the car and shoot a quick text to that person and say, hey, I just left a little something for you on your front porch. And, I hope everyone's doing well. Have a great summer.
Got it. Okay, so 5 a month, and so what that means is 5 people a month get a pop-by gift. So what that means is 60 people a year are getting something. Is that how you think of it? Like those 60 people will get one thing per year, or is it?
Yeah, and then sometimes in December, since that can be a month where you have a little bit more time in your schedule, we might do more. But we know at a minimum, right? At least we're touching that many people with pop buys, and then hopefully touching even more people than that with client events.
Got it. Okay. So tell us about your events, because I know this is another big part of your flow, something that works really well for you.
So we have 2 client events a year. In the spring here in Durham, we have a great area in the Golden Belt that's got a brewery and then a courtyard. And on the other side of the courtyard is a local ice cream shop. And so we invite clients, bring your family, if you have children, bring them. If you have pets, bring them. And then you can come, and everyone who comes with you gets a ticket, and it can either be used to grab, a beer or an ice cream. So, usually the adults are grabbing the beers and the kids are going to get ice cream. We have dog treats for our furry friends that come. And it's just kind of a great event because people come and hang out and stay and chat and meet people they don't know. And it's an event that people seem to really like.
Yeah.
And then in November, I know no one's recreating the wheel here. Lots of agents do pie pickups for clients, but we do have a restaurant in the area called the Angus Barn that is very famous for their chocolate pie. And so we actually send out an invitation to clients, and they can reserve a pie. We will pick it up for them, and obviously we pay for them, and then they can come to our office 2 nights before Thanksgiving and grab their pie. And we just have like some, wine and beer and sodas and some really light hors d'oeuvres out. And so if they have a moment to stay and chat, we can catch up with them. But if they just need to grab their pie and run, that as well is fine.
Got it. So the postcard lets them know that, hey, Thanksgiving is coming soon. We're happy to get a pie for you. Just let us know if you would like one. And is that how that goes? And then they send you an email to let you know.
So it goes out electronically.
Okay.
And so we have the email with the graphic, but then we utilize a program that allows them to go ahead and click an RSVP. And then it keeps everything totaled for us so that we know like who RSVP'd, and we have our pie count in there, but it's all
Okay.
seamless within the email.
And then on your summer event, how do you invite people to that?
So we, again, kind of use a similar setup that we do for the pie event where we send it out through our email program. But then the other thing we do as we get closer to the event, you can't do it for everyone, but we try our best to reach out to people even via text and use some of our like ninja kind of flow just to say, hey, just a reminder. And we'll use the graphic and send it within the text from the invite, but just say, just a reminder, this is happening this weekend. I hope to see you guys if you can make it. And we've found that what's great about it is even if people cannot make it for one reason or another, even the text reminder will just kind of start a conversation on like, hey, I really hate to miss it, but we are going out of town this weekend. And you can say, oh, like, where are you going? And kind of, again, start the forward from there. Like, what are they up to? Right. So.
Yeah, that's one of the brilliant things about doing client events is it turns into all kinds of flow opportunities before the event, obviously during the event, after the event. And so I know a lot of ninjas who they're just in this constant state of offering events. And so they're inviting them to the event, then they see them at the event, and then they follow up after, or they say, hey, we missed you, hope to see you at the next one. And they never have to really be thinking about what am I going to say in a phone call or a text. They're just inviting people to really fun things.
For sure. And I mean, if you asked me, I'd do all in person because I much prefer being in flow with people in person than picking up the phone. I mean, Shelly will tell you, but I would just, I feel like I am better in person. And I always, picking up the phone can be the hardest barrier to forward, is just actually the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how many clients do you tend to see at these events, both the summer event and how many people are coming to pick up a pie from you?
Can really vary, obviously, depending on what everyone has going on. So from year to year, it can vary, but I would say at a minimum, I feel like we're always at least I'm getting in like 20 good contacts for conversations.
Got it. You said something really powerful a little bit ago that I want to go back to because it's related to events. And that is, you said that you do business planning twice a year. And at the end of the year, that's when you map out, really, you're mapping out your flow for the whole year. You're mapping out the newsletter you know is going to go out. You're mapping out what the pop-bys are going to be. You're mapping out the events. And so tell me if I'm right on this, Amanda, but by the time you hit, gosh, January 15th at the latest, you know what the year is going to look like in terms of flow. You're not showing up on February 1st or March 1st or August 1st saying, well, what are we going to do this month? It's already figured out.
Yes. The goal at end of year business planning is to not have to think about it for the rest of the year, honestly. And so we, at that point, look at for the mailers for the year, um, what do we want to change, tweak? Do we want to scrap one, make a completely different mailer? Sometimes we'll kind of have like templated months in terms of usually the first month of a quarter will be like prior quarter in review or prior year in review. And then the next month, maybe here's some local events going on this month. And, maybe the next month is like a recipe. So it's like, we obviously tweak the recipe, but if that card in and of itself is doing well, then great. Right. But we go ahead and knock that out. We knock out what all the pop buys are going to be. And again, procure as much of it as possible, because that way, when the month comes and you're busy, it's already in the closet, ready to just have a tag thrown on it or whatever it may be. We do put tags on all of those pop buys. So again, we make sure that we have all the tags for each pop buy for the year created in Canva so that those are ready to go. We'll even go ahead and have them printed out and have the whole year stack of tags ready to go. We also, again, go ahead and we chat about the client events from the prior year, and did we like them? Were they successful? Did we feel like it was, a good use of our money? And is there anything we want to tweak? So we haven't always done the pie thing. That was a tweak, a pivot we made. And then it was very successful and we really liked it. So we kept it again. But we're always kind of looking at that stuff and saying, like, what can we go ahead and take care of? So especially because when you're heading into a new year, so that when we are slammed in the day to day of spring market, we don't even have to think about it. It's just happening.
Yes. In Ninja Nation, you are listening to someone who's running her business like a business. Run your business like a business. And one way to do that is to do all the planning ahead of time, do all the thinking ahead of time. And it's so relieving, right, Amanda? It's so relieving. You're not stressed. You're not wondering. You're not guessing. It's already figured out. And it's a wonderful thing because you have enough to deal with in your life, and then you certainly have enough to deal with when the spring busy season comes along. So why not do yourself a favor and just get it all figured out ahead of time?
100%. And then you're never scrambling or going, oh, it's too late now. I'll catch it next month.
Right, right. Never ever. Okay, Amanda, this has been awesome. It's been amazing. So many takeaways. I'll just ask you anything else that you'd want to share. This is your chance to speak to the whole Ninja Nation. Anything else you would want to share? Advice, thoughts, anything like that?
One, it was just a really great opportunity / experience for me doing what I did this summer, because Ninja really talks about utilizing Ninja so that you can have a life. And sometimes I think that probably a lot of people that subscribe to the Ninja theory, we probably have similar mindsets where you end up just working a ton because you enjoy what you do, one, but also you're probably very driven, high performer. So it's easy to just keep pushing, pushing, pushing. And so it was really cool for me to like kind of take that moment this summer and say, you can do this. You can have a life. You can have quality time doing the things you want to do with people you want to do them with and continue to run a successful business. It was just a really big takeaway for me, and it really validated the time and energy that I'm putting into Ninja. And I'm not perfect. I rarely have a perfect Ninja week. It's something, again, with my personality type that Shelly and I talk about a lot. And she reminds me that it's not about having a perfect Ninja week every week. It's about the consistency of doing the Ninja things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just be consistent. And if you have a plan and a process, you can structure your life, your business just how you want it. And so that you can have that work-life harmony that we talk about. Amanda, this has been amazing. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much for all these insights. It was incredibly helpful.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, gosh, it's our pleasure. And thank you, everyone, once again for listening. We so appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Everyone take care. Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com to learn more about ninja selling classes and coaching to get you started or further your journey on the ninja path.
Thank you for joining us. Now go have an incredible day.